Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to part 2 of my BronyCon Remembrance video. And in this video, this is part 2. In this video, I will be talking about the Day 1 events of BronyCon 2019. So picking up where my last video left off, it was probably about... I woke up, actually, at one point, I woke up early in the morning, and I realized I could see like a tiny bit of light peeking out from around the curtain into the hotel room. And at that point I thought, oh, it has to be like 6 or 6:30 in the morning. I thought it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours until we have to get up. So I didn't want to wake narrator up. So I slithered out of bed quietly, tiptoed over to the dresser or the table at the end of the bed where my phone was, and I turned it on and looked, and it was 1:30 in the morning. I turned to look at the window like, you lied to me. And then I was like, where's this light coming from? It's 1:30. F this, I'm going back to bed. So, like, I saw all this in my head. So I went back over, laid back down on the bed, and I just looked at the curtain next to me, and then I realized that it was probably the light from the other rooms that was kind of shining through that. And maybe also some light from the hotel itself. So I rolled back over and went back to sleep, thank God. And I woke up again, I think, whenever I don't believe that I keep thinking that I woke up again before we had to get up, but I remember laying there and my phone started going off. So we got up and we started getting ready. Narrator and I started getting ready. As he got ready in the bathroom, I started getting some of my gear ready that I was going to take. And here, it was day one. It was like 8 a.m. in the morning on Thursday, August 1st. It was day one, and I was geared. I was pumped. I was ready. And I remember after he finished getting ready, I got out the clothes that I was going to wear, went into the bathroom, and I wore a Twilight Sparkle t-shirt for day one, which was this was actually the shirt that I wore on day one of the convention. And I remember I, I, I put my shorts and my shirt on, and then walked back into the room, and then I started getting everything ready. I got my camera ready, my cell phone. I put my cell phone in my pocket. I put the spare chargers into this backpack, and I put all this stuff in this backpack. I put my camera, the um, 3 spare sets of batteries for the camera, 2 memory cards for the camera, uh, an extra carry bag inside of the backpack, uh, and I also had the 2 extra phone chargers in there, 2 extra phone charging battery packs, and so I put the backpack on, and immediately I felt like the weight of the backpack on my back, and it was at that point that I realized I haven't worn a backpack like this in ages. And immediately I thought, wait, am I going to be able to, like, wearing this thing, I thought, am I going to be able to get used to this? Like, there's some weight to this with all the stuff that I had in it. And plus, I also had my tripod. And I realized at that moment that I had a choice to make. It was either leave everything behind, not carry anything, and not fully be able to enjoy the event because I wouldn't have my camera, or suck it up, get used to it, and deal with it, and just enjoy it and put up with the wait. And so in that moment, in that instant, I decided, you know what? I'm taking this thing. I don't care about the wait. I'm going to enjoy this. I want to be prepared. So I got used to it. Like that quickly, I made myself get used to it. And by the time that we probably got to the convention center, I was kind of already used to carrying it. Like, I just kind of, I guess, adapted it in my mind. And I remember having the backpack on, and the tripod like over my left shoulder, and under my left arm. I remember we walked out into the hall, and we locked the door, started down the hall, and we passed by the glass doors um, that looked out a little bit over the roof. And I remember looking at the sky, at the blue sky above, and thinking, "Good morning, Baltimore." And it's funny, it's ironic because I was thinking, "Good morning, Baltimore." And ironically, that's what some people ended up singing later on inside of the convention center, which I will get to that here shortly. Um, but I remember walking by that, and we got on the elevator, and we got, I think, down to the second floor, and the elevator stopped. We got down to the next floor, and the elevator stopped. And this girl and either her mom or her grandmother, maybe her aunt, uh, got on the elevator. Um, and the girl happened to have a Tempest Shadow T-shirt on, and it was so cool because here I was, like, I was wearing an MLP shirt. This girl was wearing an MLP shirt, and we didn't really say anything. We just kind of, like, I think all four of us just basically just said hi to one another. We got out of the elevator and uh, made our way into the kitchen area and the dining area of the Interplaza Hotel. And online it said that they would provide a complimentary free breakfast. And so I was honestly, expecting like maybe some pancakes or like, bacon eggs. That's what I was thinking. No, it was basically DIY pancakes. I mean, it was basically DIY waffles, do-it-yourself waffles. Um, we walked into the kitchen area, and there was already a line of people to get over to the one um, like waffle maker over there, and there was a little table there that had like waffle mix on it, and over behind where we were standing, was like this little counter that was probably um, about up to your chest, and it had like some, I think it wasn't, it had like some uh, gallons of uh, off-brand orange juice and apple juice. It wasn't like like the Tropicana or anything like that. It was a different brand, and looking around at the like dozen or so people that was already inside of there sitting down and eating, I saw so many people with MLP shirts, hats, and such. And it was at that moment, like, the exhilarating feel was just sinking in on me because I realized this was the first time in my life that I had been around this many bronies and Pegasisters at one time. Um, there are only two other times in my life since I have been in this fandom. Since I joined this fandom back about midway through 2011, there have been only two other times in my life that I have actually encountered a brony and a Pegasister. That's it. I mean, in person, that is it. And so here I was around like dozens of them already, and I just felt like these are my people. I belong here. And I remember I didn't want to have to wait for the pancake mix, and I'm just that kind of person, like, I didn't want to have to stand in line and wait to make pancakes because it was already like a little after 8, and I knew we were wanting to try to get to the center by 9, and I didn't want to make anybody else have to wait on me, so I decided not to get any breakfast, to make any breakfast. I just grabbed a stale bagel and a cup of orange juice. And I didn't want to use the pancake mix because I didn't know how much they had, and I wanted the person behind me to get a chance to make pancakes. So that's just how I am. Um, so we got what little bit of breakfast we got. Literally for me, it was a bagel and a cup of orange juice, and walked out into the lobby area and sat down um, in the two chairs that they had in the lobby, and the one that I was sitting in was sitting diagonally to a LCD TV that was on, I think, the Baltimore weather channel, And I'm used to seeing the Weather Channel here in Virginia and seeing that, so it was interesting. It was different to see a Weather Channel looking at a different location, and it was showing like different locations, and I'm like, I've never heard of that place, but then again, I'm not from Baltimore. I've never been here before. This is my first time. So I remember I took a bite of the bagel. The bagel was kind of stale, but I ate half the bagel anyway. I ate half the bagel, drank the cup of orange juice, and that was a mistake. Honestly, that was a very big mistake that I made. I honestly thought for some reason that that bagel would do me the entire rest of the day of the first day of the con. It did not. So I made a mistake on the first day, but I did rectify that on the second day. And the funny thing was, as we were standing in line, I happened to look out the window and I saw a sandwich shop literally right next door to the hotel. And I remember looking at narrator and saying, "Next morning, how about we go there?" And he said it would he said it sounded good. Funny thing is, we actually never ended up eating there, unfortunately. But I remember stepping out of the hotel onto in front of the fountain. We started walking down the street to the first stoplight, and it was just so cool because here it was morning in Baltimore, and here I was. I had my backpack on, I had my MLP shirt on. We were getting ready to go to the Baltimore Convention Center for BronyCon, and there was just so much excitement and awe welling up inside of me. There's a mosquito. Uh, that it was just overwhelming for me. Like, it was just so much was happening at one time. My brain was kind of having a hard time processing it all. And my brain just kind of wanted to just shut down. It and I remember we got to the stoplight and there was no traffic coming down the street, and the crosswalk was red, but said I, I actually said to narrator, I wonder if we can go ahead and cross, even since there was no traffic. And there was some woman that was standing there. She didn't go to the convention, I don't think. I don't know. But she told us, apparently she knew that we weren't from Baltimore because she told us that, that's what she told us, was that it's better that you don't, because if you cross on red, that they would take a picture of you, and I guess they would mail your ticket. So I'm like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking a chance on that. So we just stood there until the light went green. Then we walked down the street, and we walked by Royal Farms, which kind of became one of my favorite places to eat while in Baltimore. Um, and then we walked down the street. We ended up turning down one street, which was actually not the same street we went down the other days. And we ended up almost pretty much in front of the convention center. And then we walked down, and before, by the time we got to the front of the convention center, I decided to go ahead and pull out my camera and just start recording the whole thing. So I was able to record whenever we walked inside of the convention center. And whenever we got to the front doors of the convention center, the funny thing was the doors didn't open for us right off. For some reason, they didn't open for us right off. I don't know why, but they didn't open. I don't know if maybe we weren't close enough to the doors or what. That's what narrator suggested, was maybe we just didn't get close enough. But after we saw this other woman walk in, we walked inside, and I was just immediately met with the beauty of the convention center. And there was just so many people there, and just the beauty of it, walking down these steps into like the front foyer, or like the front lobby of the hotel. And there was just a huge line of people in front of us. And we wondered, like, we needed to get our badge. And so we wondered where we should get the badge from. So narrator walked up to someone and asked where the line is to get the badge, and they basically pointed to this long line. And so we got in line, and I looked around these people and saw how far in it went, and I thought, oh, this is going to be a long line. This is going to be a long time. So then the line started moving forward quickly, and they all made their way over to the front of, over inside of Hall A, where you were supposed to pick up your badges. And I remember looking at the white tape that they had in the like zigzag pattern, not exactly zigzag pattern, but I guess like Donkey Kong like pattern or something. And it was just kind of funny to see that. And so instead of just straight lines, you know, like you basically just zigzagged around. And so got in line, and as we were in line waiting, I remember passing by this guy. Uh, I want to say the guy was probably from, I don't, I want to say Germany, but I'm not sure if he was from Germany. He had a different accent. He was from a different country, but he was a really cool guy. He had a little Pip, a really beautifully detailed little Pip plush with him, and he was also dressed as Little Pip in a way. He had the Stable 2 outfit on, and immediately I'm like, Little Pip, because she's one of my favorite Fallout characters, her and Blackjack. And so we ended up, pretty much every time that we ended up walking by this guy, I ended up speaking to him. And then there was a couple people that knew narrator from his YouTube channel, and he got to speak to them. And finally, we were able to get to the booth. And one thing that I made sure that I did, whenever I bought my tickets, I was able to get the PDF on my phone, but I did not use that. Instead, I did it the old-fashioned way. I made a print out. I printed out my ticket, which was easier for me. I just literally pulled it out and showed it to them, and so they gave me my ticket, and I got the poster. And then I realized I had this poster, I had this brochure book. This right here is one of just a few that I have, actually. This right here was the one that I carried around with me. Um, but I kept a couple others. But I realized then I didn't want to we stepped over to the side behind the booths, away from the booths, by these black curtains that they had, and or dark or navy blue, and I got out a uh, big carry bag that I had, and I put the poster and the T-shirt that I got down inside of it. Then I realized I didn't want to have to carry all of that all over the convention, so we actually left the convention center, made our way back to the hotel, um, and I put my stuff on the dresser inside of the room. I left my poster there. I left my bag there. I left my poster, and so after that, um, we made our way back to the convention center again, and we actually walking down. We made our way up to the second level, where we saw a lot of other people there. We saw the vending machine in front that we never actually got anything from. But we made our way then up to the third level, which was where the Hall of the Sun, Hall of the Moon, Hall of the Stars, and everything was. And so we started walking down that way, and we ended up pretty much just scanning everything. And I took that opportunity while we were walking by the Hall of the Sun, Hall of the Moon. I took the opportunity to take pictures of all of the little posters and signs that they had outside, just because I wanted to keep that. And thank God I was able to get pictures of all of that. And after we finished, as we continued walking down that third level, uh, we started by where the windows were that looked out on the right side, and we actually ran into Dusty Cat while there. And I remember narrator asked him, what does he have in his pocket? And he stopped and he gave us each a button, uh, which was super cool. And we continued to walk down a little bit until we got to this little sign that said stop, no more BronyCon beyond this point, which was hilarious because there was no more convention exactly beyond that point, but it was funny because there was still plenty of other people roaming around in there, and so we just kind of walked on and through there, and we ended up going all the way over to the Sky Bridge. Um, Narrator made a mention about somebody that he knew that was also supposed to be there that we might end up running into. Um, I can't remember who he said it was, but we made our way up the stairs and made our way down the Sky Bridge, and we ended up running into them. Um, and then we made our way back down. We were actually supposed to find an artist, Miss Melee, that we both ended up, narrator and myself, ended up commissioning to do to do a image of our OC's custom badges for BronyCon, and this image here was the badge that I commissioned of her, and it was so super cool. Running into her, we ran into her at the Market Fresh Cafe on the 3rd level, and she had our characters um, in these little yellow pouches that had our channel names on them, and we got them, and she immediately wanted us to go ahead and open them up, and so we did, and it was so much fun. It was so cool. She was so amazing, and so then I put my badge on, and I walked around with my badge for the entire duration of the convention. I kept my badge right there with me on my lanyard, and it was just so super cool to have that. And I love the fact I absolutely love it. And Melee did, I mean, her art is incredible, and it was so much fun to actually have a custom badge, not just from her, but a custom badge for BronyCon 2019. And so that's definitely something that I'll also treasure. And after we got our badges, we just kind of kept walking around, kind of looking around at the different things in the convention center. We also walked outside onto the terrace on the 3rd level, and the first event that we ended up going to, uh, the first event that we ended up going to was the first event that they had was at noon, which was YouTube Ponies. And I believe that's the one that we ended up going to, the first one that we went to. That was the first, I believe the first panel that we went to was the YouTube Ponies panel. I believe that was it. Because the first panel that they had, it was some animators. That it was the first panel, I believe it was, and it was a few animators. I keep thinking Minty Root was one of them, and I remember we got in line for that. We got inside. I think it was Hall of the Sun, and yeah, it was Hall of the Sun. I believe, pretty sure it was. And we sat down, and I realized at that point that, you know what, I should probably pull out my camera and start recording. So I got my camera out and I started recording, and then I realized how much discomfort that it would have been to sit there for an hour holding that. So I looked at Narrator, who was sitting next to me, and asked him if he could hold my camera while I get my tripod. So I hand him my camera while I get my tripod out, and then he gives me my camera back, and then I set it in front of me. And I set the tripod kind of right in front of me, but kind of to the side so that I could aim between a couple of people's heads. And thing was, I did not raise it high. Like, I knew there were people behind me, and so I kind of kept it about head level with me almost, so because I didn't want to annoy people behind me. But that was the first panel, I think, which was YouTube Ponies, and then the second panel that we ended up going to, I think, was Don't Forget the Lyrics. I think that was the second panel that we went to, where they had, I think it was the karaoke. And I remember in that one, we ended up sitting in the back. Um, and it was so much fun hearing the different, people getting up there and singing different songs, not just from the show but from the fandom. And there were some songs that they played that I haven't even heard before, from that people in the fandom have made. There were a few different songs that Narrator and myself, like, I looked at him and said, I haven't heard that song. yet, and there were a couple songs that he looked at me and said he hasn't heard them. But most of them we had heard. That it's they did like Winter Wrap Up from the show. They did Winter Wrap Up, and I think the Pony Every Pony Should Know. They did Discord from the fandom. They did Discord, and I think there was others that they did, um, and it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And then after that panel, uh, the next panel that I myself wanted to go to was, I think, Writing Comedy: How to Make Your Horses Hilarious. And I think that panel I ended up going to. That was the first writing panel because I love fan fiction, and so all the panels that was pertaining to writing and storytelling were panels that I wanted to try to go to. And so I believe writing comedy was the next one that went to that I myself went to. I think narrator went to the ultra mega pony trivia challenge of Ultimate Destiny. I think he might have went to that one. Um, but I know I'm pretty sure I went to the writing one because I remember going to the first writing panel. We also then went to the Mad Lib Pony Theater. Uh, we passed on the R Audio and Animatics fan media. We passed on that one, I believe, because I don't animate, narrator doesn't animate, but we did, I think, go to the Mad Libs. We did do that one. Um, and then after that one was over with, I think we just basically walked around at that point, and then we attended the opening ceremonies at 6 p.m. And the opening ceremonies was just so much, it was so fun because getting in line to go inside the opening ceremony, and then you walk inside and inside of Hall B, and I remember walking in and seeing the art of the pony mascots up there, Hoofbeats, Main Event, and Blank Canvas. Seeing them up on screen, seeing the BC logo, the BronyCon logo, and immediately they started playing, like right after the moment that we walked in, they started playing uh, an original song that was basically written for, I guess, for BronyCon, that the three mascots actually sang, which was "Proud to be Brony." Um, and immediately I actually had my camera going. I quickly pulled out my tripod and my camera and started recording. And I was able to record. I was able to capture most of the opening ceremony as well. But I remember hearing that song and just seeing the screens, just rotating and everything. Just, I mean, like the art and hearing the music, and it was just so exciting. It was just so exhilarating, and I mean, it was just absolutely amazing feeling that. And I remember thinking to myself, I love that song. I need to find that song whenever I get back home. I need to find that song. And thank God I was actually I was actually able to find it. Um, but I found that song. I mean, but it was just so amazing. And every time that I hear that song now, I think about that moment that, it takes me back to that whenever I first walked inside of Hall B and they started playing that song. And it just captures that. And it was so, so amazing. And after the opening ceremonies was over with, yeah, the next panel that I myself went to was Fanfiction Foundation's Root Your Story in the World. That was the next one that I ended up going to, um, I believe. I don't think we went to Trailblazers in the fandom. I don't think we went to that one. I believe I'm pretty sure I went to the Fanfiction Foundations. Now, at 7 o'clock, they had MLP in a Nutshell in Hall of the Moon. MLP in a Nutshell Q&A. We might have went to that one. I'm pretty sure I did go to the Fanfiction Foundations one. Let's see, Equestria's New Groove. I think we thought about going to that one, but I don't think we actually got to go to that one. I don't really remember. A series of equestrian events. We might have went to that one. I'm not completely certain on that. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry on that. We did go. I think, yeah, it was the Fanfiction Foundations, and I'm sorry, I was wrong actually. It just hit me. Um, the Fanfiction Foundations Root Your Story in the World happened at 10 p.m. And I mean, it happened at 9:45, and it was over. Sorry, it happened at 8:45. It was over by 9:45. By that point, I was drained. Like I said earlier, because I did not eat any really good breakfast that morning, because I never got lunch, I never got dinner, and here it was pretty much 10 o'clock at night, and because I had only had half a bagel and a cup of orange juice, I was drained. I did not have any more energy in me, and so I didn't have the energy to actually continue. So I remember we were we sat down at a couple of chairs um, on the third level outside. I think it was outside. It was between the hall of it was between the hall of the sun. It was between the hall of the sun and it was between the hall of the sun and the Baltimore Arcade. The Baltimore Arcade. We sat down there, narrator myself and another guy, actually, and we just kind of talked about a few different things for like about a half hour. And by that point, though, I was tired because I didn't hadn't really had a whole lot of sleep because I was so excited about the next day, which was the first, that I was up and down, woke up and dozed off all night. And so lack of sleep and then no nutrition, no nutrients in my system. My system was empty. I had no fuel, and so my system was having a complete meltdown. And so I remember I was wondering if, like, I remember seeing a couple of people walk, like they were sitting over at the Market Fresh Cafe and they had like pizza or something. And I thought, oh my gosh, you mean there's a pizza place that's still open right now? And so I wanted to get something to eat, um, but unfortunately there wasn't any. I did not know that Royal Farms was open at that point. I did not know that. By like 10:30, I was drained, and so we made the call to just go ahead, call it a night, and head back to the hotel. And I really didn't want to have to. I really didn't want to, but I knew that my body would not be able to handle it if I didn't do that because I didn't have the energy to continue. And I knew why. It was my own fault. But had planned on rectifying that by the next day. And so we just called it a night about 10:30 that evening on the first day of BronyCon. And so we just went ahead. We went back to the hotel. Um, and we each took a shower, and I took the opportunity to drink some Gatorade that I had brought with me in the cooler, and I drank a little bit of Gatorade, and then uh, we just basically called it a night. We turned in for the night, and basically I was trying to get some good sleep as well so that I could be ready for the second day of BronyCon. But that's what happened on the first day, and like I said, um, it was really fun being in the panels. Um, the Don't Forget the Lyrics panel was really awesome to be able to just you see people like singing lyrics from different songs in the show and in the fandom. And the writing comedy, I really did enjoy all of the fan fiction writing panels because it was very informative. It was very interesting for me, as a fan fiction writer. It was very interesting for me to be able to learn like techniques and learn about that. And it's not just something that I want to apply to my fan fiction, but it's also something that I want to take to heart to try to use to improve my reviewing as well. I want to try to get better at understanding storytelling so that I can both write better stories myself and so that I can give better reviews. So it's kind of working two different ways. Um, but there were things that we didn't get to go to. But the Mad Libs Pony Theater was hilarious to get to go to, and I love the opening ceremony. Um, and then the Fanfiction Foundations was fun, and like I said, by that point we were just kind of ready to crash. Well, I myself was, and we decided to just call it a night. But that's the first day of BronyCon 2019, and it was a lot of fun. I regret that I did not eat a sufficient meal so that I could last longer. But it's something. It was a mistake that I made, and it was something that you learn from. And I I made the change to that on Friday, so don't worry about that. But again, it was a lot of fun, and so thanks again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed my story of what happened on the first day. Also, one other thing I forgot to mention was one other thing I forgot to mention, whenever we walked up onto the third level, we were looking at the other vending machine, the first one that we encountered by the Hall of the Sun, and we were kind of wondering if it was functioning. I think we were each going to get something to drink because the first one that we encountered on the second level, I don't think had anything, but the one on the first level did, and we started looking at it and only to realize it wasn't even plugged in. So, and about that time, someone told us that there was another one further down, so we could check that out. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. I had an absolute blast. But thanks again for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. And hopefully in the next video talking about BronyCon 2019. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you guys later. Take care.